After the family reunion, I logged into my bank account, it was empty. My brother-in-law smirked, "We needed it more than you." Hands shaking, I grabbed my bag and warned, "Then you won't mind what happens next." They laughed until a sudden bang shook the house and the door burst open. Imagine waking up one morning, heart pounding, only to discover your entire life savings, every single penny you've worked for, just gone. And then, picture your own family, sitting right in front of you, smug smiles plastered on their faces, telling you, "Relax, we needed it more than you." That's exactly what happened to me, and it was just the beginning of a nightmare I never saw coming. I remember it like it was yesterday. Leaning against the fridge, beer in hand, my brother-in-law Seth had that infuriatingly smug half-grin, completely oblivious to the hurricane raging inside me. "Relax," he drawled, "we needed it more than you." My thumb, already numb, hovered over the refresh button on my banking app. 3 times I'd hit it. 3 times. And still, the same number glared back at me, $87. $87. Yesterday, I had over 14,000. 14,000, you what? My voice cracked, barely a whisper. From the couch, my sister Sarah let out a casual laugh, as if this was just another episode of some reality show. Legs curled under her, sipping wine, completely unbothered. "Oh, don't be so dramatic," she chirped. "It's not like we stole it. We're family." "Family?" I stared at her. "You drained my account." Seth shrugged, taking a swig of his beer. "It's not draining if we're going to pay it back, eventually." My mouth opened, but no sound came out. I looked at Mom, sitting across the room, her knitting needles clicking away, utterly uninterested. "Mom?" I tried again, louder this time. "Did you know about this?" She sighed, a dramatic, long-suffering sound, as if I'd just accused her of poisoning the pot roast. "Sweetheart, you're always so sensitive. You have a good job, no mortgage, no kids. You live alone. You're fine." My blood ran cold. "So that justifies stealing from me?" "Language, Mason," Dad muttered from behind his phone, not even looking up. I turned back to Sarah, my voice a dangerous low. "How did you even get access?" "You left your info on the family computer, didn't you?" she said, completely unapologetic. "Maybe next time, don't log in and walk away. Honestly, it's your own fault." My own fault. My fingers curled into fists. My breathing went shallow. My entire world was tilting. "You're making this a bigger deal than it needs to be," Seth chimed in, oblivious. "It's not like we wasted it on nonsense. We paid rent, bought groceries, survived. You didn't ask." I exploded. "We didn't think we had to," Sarah snapped back. "You've been paying for stuff for years. What's the difference if it comes through you or from you?" I just stood there, bag in hand. No one moved. No one apologized. No one even looked slightly surprised. It was like they had rehearsed this. "You're leaving already?" Mom asked, finally looking up. "Yep," I said, zipping my coat. "But don't worry. I'll be in touch." "Don't be like that," Sarah rolled her eyes. "We needed it more than you. That's just facts." I reached for the doorknob, paused. My voice was calm, almost too calm. "Then you won't mind what's coming next." They laughed. A hollow, dismissive sound that echoed in my ears long after I closed the door. But outside, something had already started. Something irreversible. "Hey, you okay?" It was my cousin Jen, catching up to me outside. My fists were clenched, my jaw locked. I just yanked open the car door. "No," I muttered. "I heard what Sarah said," she added carefully. "That wasn't right." I didn't answer. If I spoke, I'd scream. The thing is, this wasn't the first time. For years, I'd been the responsible one. The one with the stable job. The one who didn't need help. So, somehow, that made me the family wallet. It started small. Sarah forgot to pay her phone bill. I covered it. Then Seth lost his job, just needed a little something to get through the month. Then a birthday gift for their daughter. I offered to pay, but really, they just assumed I would. And every single time, they made it sound like I owed it to them. "You're lucky, Mason," Mom would say, her voice sweet but with an edge like a razor. "You don't have the struggles your sister does. God gave you ease so you could share it. Family means supporting each other," Dad would chime in more than once. "You wouldn't be here if it weren't for us." Translation: we gave you life, now give us your paycheck. I never asked for anything. Not when I was laid off for 6 months and lived off rice and eggs. Not when I skipped vacations for 3 straight years just to rebuild my savings. Not even when I helped pay off Sarah and Seth's credit card debt 2 years ago. They never paid me back. They never even said thank you. "You still coming to the family reunion?" Sarah had asked me just last week. "Yeah," I'd replied. "Should I bring something?" Her answer came quick, chillingly clear now: "Just bring yourself. And your card." I thought it was a joke. Now I knew it wasn't. 2 days after they emptied my account, Sarah called. I didn't answer. She called again. And again. Then Seth texted, "Just call her, man, she's freaking out." I finally picked up on the 5th try. "Mason?" Her voice was low, shaky. "We have a problem." "Oh, we do?" I asked, my voice flat. "Look, don't be like that." Something happened. She stayed silent, waiting for me to react. I didn't. "The power company came today. We're behind on the bill, like, way behind. And they're threatening to shut it off if we don't pay by Monday." A pause. "So, we need your help." I laughed. A short, bitter sound that tasted like ash. "You drained my savings. And now you're asking for more?" "It wasn't just for us," she snapped. "We used some of it to help Mom and Dad too. Dad's car broke down last month, remember?" "I wasn't told," I said, "because you always say no when it's not an emergency." "Sarah," I said flatly, the anger starting to bubble. "This isn't just messed up. It's criminal. You're being dramatic. It's family. You didn't ask me. We didn't think you'd mind. You've always helped. That's what you're for, right?" There it was, that sentence. "That's what you're for." It echoed in my head, a chilling affirmation of their entire worldview. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, going over every moment from the past 5 years. The favors. The small transfers. The way Mom always said, "You're the strong one." The way Sarah rolled her eyes if I hesitated for even a second. They never saw me as a brother, a son, a person. Just a resource. 3 days later, Mom called. "We need to talk." She didn't ask how I was. She didn't ask about my job. She didn't even ask about the missing money. "We're planning a family dinner, just us. Come over tonight." My stomach dropped. "What's this really about?" "Mason," she said, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness, "you've caused a lot of tension." I caused tension? Still, I went. Part of me craved answers. The other part wanted to see if they'd even bother pretending to be sorry. They didn't. When I walked in, Sarah was already there, arms crossed, a defiance set to her jaw. Seth sat beside her, looking bored, flipping through his phone. Mom was in the kitchen, clanking pots, acting busy. Dad was at the table, casually reading mail. Like nothing had happened. "So," Sarah started as I sat down, "are we going to act like adults, or what?" "Depends," I said, looking her dead in the eye. "Are you ready to confess to felony theft?" She scoffed. "God, you're so extra." It wasn't theft. It was family money. You always help. We needed it. Seth nodded in agreement. "You can spare it, so why the drama?" "I didn't give permission," I stated. "You didn't say no, either." Because I didn't know the details, I muttered, my voice rising. I turned to Mom. And you're just okay with this? She looked away, suddenly finding the wallpaper fascinating. We all agreed. You've always been the one who could handle it. No one even thought to ask. We trusted you. Trusted you to do what's right, Dad chimed in, still not looking up. I stood up. And what's right is letting you steal from me while smiling to my face. Stop saying steal. Sarah shouted, her composure finally cracking. It was for the family. Then you won't mind when the family deals with the consequences, I said, my voice low and menacing. What does that mean? Seth narrowed his eyes. I didn't answer. Not yet. A few minutes later, I heard the knock. 3 hard, heavy pounds against the door. Sarah went pale. Seth shot up, too fast. Mom gasped and backed away from the kitchen counter. Dad froze, still holding a bill. Open up, a voice boomed from outside. Financial Crimes Unit. Knock, knock, knock. Seth turned to me, his voice a terrified whisper. Mason, tell me you're not serious. I opened the door. 3 agents stepped in, jackets marked with bold, official letters. One carried a clipboard, the second a tablet, the third calmly surveyed the room. Mason Carver, the lead agent asked. Yes. Thank you for your cooperation. We'll take it from here. Mom covered her mouth, a stifled sob escaping. Sarah dropped into a chair like her legs had simply given out. Seth stood there, dumbstruck, his smug grin completely gone. One of the agents turned toward them. You're listed as parties of interest in an open case of financial fraud and identity theft. Identity theft? Mom cried, horrified. He's our son. The agent didn't blink. Family ties don't make illegal activity legal, ma'am. We didn't steal anything. Sarah wailed, tears finally starting to stream down her face. We had a right. He always helped us. He always, thinking you're entitled to someone's money doesn't make it yours, another agent said calmly, cutting her off. Remain seated, please. I just stood back and watched. For the first time in my life, they didn't talk over me. Didn't mock me. Didn't laugh. Mom turned to me, her voice shaking, eyes already filling with tears. Mason, please. We didn't mean to hurt you. We were just desperate. You've always been the strong one. You're the only one we could count on. I looked her dead in the eyes, my voice a cold, hard whisper. Asterisk asterisk, you don't get to cry now, asterisk asterisk, she covered her mouth and sobbed. Sarah tried to say something, but no words came out, just choked gasps. Seth looked ready to bolt, but sat down under the agent's stern stare. You want to talk about what family is? I said, stepping forward, my voice clear and unwavering. It's trust. It's respect. It's asking, not assuming. Not stealing. Not laughing while you bleed me dry. They said nothing. I grabbed my bag from the floor and turned to the lead agent. I'll be outside. And this time, they didn't stop me. This time, I was free. I left the house in silence. No one chased me. No one called my name. For once, there was no guilt, no drama, no Sarah shrieking after me with her usual "how could you?" Just the cold night air and, a few minutes later, the crunch of tires as the investigators escorted them out, one by one. I didn't stay to watch. That night, I drove. Without a destination. Past closed coffee shops and glowing gas stations, my phone buzzing nonstop in the passenger seat. I didn't answer a single call. I didn't want to hear apologies shaped like excuses. By midnight, I ended up parked outside the only place that had ever felt like a safe harbor, my grandmother's old house. She'd passed a few years ago, but I still had the key. She used to say, if they ever turn on you, Mason, you come here. The door will always open for you. And that night, it did. I slept for 11 hours straight. No texts. No guilt. No tension pressing down on my chest like it always did when I stayed near my family. When I woke up, I made coffee in a chipped mug and stood at the window, watching the sun crawl over the fence she used to garden behind. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. But the silence didn't last. The first email came that afternoon from Dad. "This has gone too far. You've humiliated the entire family. What happened to loyalty?" I didn't reply. Then Sarah texted, "I hope you're happy. They're freezing my accounts. Seth's being investigated at work. You ruined our lives over a couple of payments. A couple, try tens of thousands of dollars. Try 5 years of silent sacrifice. Then Mom." A voicemail, her voice soft, cracking. "You didn't have to do it this way. We could have handled it like a family, Mason, sweetheart, please. They're threatening charges. They said we might lose the house." I replayed that line in my head, "They might lose the house," and suddenly, I wasn't angry. I wasn't vindictive. I just didn't care. Because I had already lost a home years ago, when they decided I was worth more as a bank account than a son. 2 days passed. Then a message popped up from someone I didn't expect, Seth's brother, Kelly. We weren't close, maybe exchanged 5 words at birthdays, but his text was simple: "Just so you know, Sarah's trying to shift blame on you. Says you knew and approved the money transfers. There's a lawyer involved. Watch your back." I almost laughed. Even now, even with everything crumbling, she was still trying to spin it. That night, I called my own lawyer. "Send everything," I said. "I don't just want to press charges. I want a restraining order too." But not every message was hostile. A week later, I got a short email from Kelly, Seth's sister this time. "I know we haven't spoken in years," it read, "but I just wanted to say, you were right about all of it. About how they treat you. About how toxic it's gotten. I used to think you were just cold. Now I think you were brave." I stared at her message for a long time. Brave. No one in my family had ever used that word on me. One morning, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost declined it, but something told me to pick up. "Mason?" The voice was small, hoarse. "It's Sarah." I didn't say anything. She kept talking. "Look, I know I messed up, okay? I went too far. I didn't think it would go like this. Seth's been suspended. Mom won't stop crying. Dad won't even speak to me. And you," she hesitated, "you always had the power to ruin everything, and you finally did." I didn't speak for a moment. Then I said flatly, "I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped letting you walk over me." Silence. "Then, can you just stop it now? Drop the charges, please? I'll do anything. Just make it stop." I almost felt something. Almost. But then I remembered what she'd said the night of the reunion: "We needed it more than you." I smiled bitterly. "No," I said. "You made this mess. You live in it." And I hung up. That night, I cooked myself dinner in peace. Played my favorite album from college. Sat on the porch with a mug of coffee and watched the world go by. And for the first time since I was a teenager, no one asked me for money. No one guilt-tripped me. No one made me feel like I was only valuable if I was giving something. I wasn't their wallet anymore. I was just me. And that was enough. It's strange how quiet peace is. No one tells you that. You imagine it'll feel like fireworks, or loud music, or some grand celebration. But for me, peace sounded like no one asking me for money. No one calling me selfish. No one sending long texts with, "Since you're the only one doing well." Just silence. Glorious, uninterrupted silence. 3 months have passed since the night I blew everything up. 3 months since the investigation started, since my family stared at me in shock as agents walked through their front door, and reality finally punched through years of delusion. They say you can't choose your family. Maybe that's true. But you can choose how much of yourself you're willing to lose trying to keep them happy. And I was done losing. The fallout came fast. Sarah and Seth tried damage control first. A lawyer emailed my attorney, offering to privately resolve the situation. No apology. No ownership. Just damage control. I told my lawyer, let it burn. A week later, Mom sent a letter. 10 pages. Her handwriting still neat, but trembling in parts. She wrote about how things got out of hand, how they never meant to hurt me, how she hoped I could see the bigger picture. We just assumed you'd always be there, she wrote. That's what good sons do. That line stuck with me. Because it said everything. Not we were wrong. Not you didn't deserve that. Just you were supposed to stay quiet and keep giving. I didn't write back. I didn't call. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty about it. I moved. New apartment. New state. No more accidental drop-ins from relatives. No more surprise visits from Sarah. I even changed my number. My boss, noticing how focused I'd become, offered me a promotion. I took it. It's funny how much better you perform at work when you're not secretly juggling your sister's car payments and your mom's overdue utility bills. I sleep better now. I eat better. I breathe better. Because I'm no longer carrying 4 people on my back who refuse to say thank you. Then, one morning, a letter showed up. No return address. Inside? A check for $1,200. And a handwritten note. I left him. You were right. I was scared, but watching what you did, it gave me the courage to walk away too. This is for everything you paid for Ellie, for the tablet, the rent, the clothes. I know Seth never thanked you, but I am. Thank you for being the example I needed. Kelly. I read it twice. Then I cried. Not out of sadness. Not out of pain. But because for the first time, someone in that family saw me. Not as a wallet. Not as a scapegoat. But as a person. People ask me sometimes, do you regret it? And the answer is simple, no. I regret waiting so long. I regret every sleepless night, every cancelled vacation, every tight budget I lived under while they dined out, shopped, and posted about grateful family vibes on Instagram. I regret the way I made myself small so they could feel big. I regret all the times I stayed silent when I should have said, you're crossing a line. But do I regret standing up? Burning it down? Never. My therapist once asked me, why did it take you so long to say no? And I said, because I thought that saying no meant I didn't love them. She nodded and said, saying no is how you teach people to love you back. I've never forgotten that. A few days ago, I ran into someone from high school. She said, hey, I saw what happened with your family. That's wild. I expected judgment or pity. But instead, she smiled and added, good for you. Most people never get out. I thanked her. Then I walked away, feeling a little taller. Sarah and Seth are still under investigation. Last I heard, Seth lost his job. Sarah's bank account was frozen. Mom's trying to refinance the house, and Dad's apparently blaming outside influence for tearing the family apart. They still don't get it. I didn't tear anything apart. I just stopped pretending the pieces were still whole. Sometimes I get flashbacks. That night. The table. Sarah laughing as I checked my account. Seth grinning like it was a joke. Mom brushing it off. You don't need that money, she said. And now they know the truth. That money wasn't just money. It was my life. My time. My health. My boundaries. And they crossed them for years, like it meant nothing. Now they pay the price. I don't celebrate their downfall. But I celebrate myself. For surviving it. For walking away. For not going back. Even when the silence felt lonely. Even when the guilt whispered in my ear like it used to. Because that silence? It's freedom. So, if you're watching this, and you've been the strong one, the responsible one, the good son or good daughter who's expected to pay and never say a word, let me tell you what I wish someone told me: you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to walk away. And when you do, you don't lose a family, you find yourself.